Good morning, hello everyone, and welcome at long last to the OS World Cup 2022 Winners Bracket Final. It is time for a long-awaited, incredibly hyped matchup here in this year's Winners Final. The Cinderella story of this year's tournament, South Korea, coming off of the back of two comeback tiebreaker wins against Canada and the United States in the Winners Bracket quarterfinals and semifinals. We're facing off against the indomitable, the stalwart Germany, who have looked untouchable in their first several matches in the winners bracket to make it to the winners final. Of course, a notable absence, the United States in the winners final this year. First time since 2014, we won't be seeing them at this stage. So it's a new look, it's a new time, it's a new era perhaps being started. One of these two teams will be guaranteeing themselves a top two finish. And, of course, the other one lives to fight on for a chance to make it back up next week. But who will it be? That's the big question we've got to answer today. And IT1G will be joined by ChillierPear as we attempt to answer that question. Chillier, it's a big matchup. It's a new matchup. Who do we think comes out on top? What do we think this match looks like?
I have been anticipating this match for the entire week that we have been waiting through from semifinals to finals. After watching that exceptional tiebreaker from South Korea last week with the big performances from players of the likes of Karcher and Allegrissimo, backed up by their star roster this year, going up against Germany, the team who is no stranger to these winners finals, now going on multiple years in this position.
Interestingly enough, these teams have met twice in the past 3 years, right? 2019, they met in the losers bracket finals weekend. South Korea won 7-4. And then last year, they met in losers final, grand finals weekend. Germany won 7-6. So that 1-1 scoreline, somebody's going to take a lead in it. And South Korea, also worth mentioning, on the run of all runs in World Cups this year, not just in standard. They won the Catch World Cup, they won the 4-Key Mania World Cup, they won the 7-Key Mania World Cup, and they got second place in the Taiko World Cup. So they can get top two in every single World Cup this year if they win this match, which would be an unprecedented level of dominance for all OSU game modes, the likes of which we've never seen before, and which would be a remarkable accomplishment.
South Korea really going for a year of firsts this time around with their performance in absolutely everything. Like you said, it's something we just simply have not seen before. This level of dominance from a singular country across the board is, it's just previously not thought to have been possible. There is so much competition and so many teams vying for the wins in these different game modes that it's hard to say that you've placed that highly in everything. And this year, they're looking to make that potentially a reality. It is a reality. They are already guaranteed a top three finish.
Yeah, this is a very good, I think, first pick to start things off for South Korea. Both these teams played the Hidden Three last week, and South Korea won the head-to-head by 470,000 points. Of course, that was their break point against the United States to force a tiebreaker. Germany, not in the same position when playing this last week, didn't really have to worry about it as a win-or-lose situation in the entire match, but definitely want to improve their compared score. So we'll get into this and see how it goes. Nope, Amamya Kokoro, Risiing, Karcher is a very scary roster for a hidden flow aim like this, and already a couple of early breaks from Okinamo and Shark over on the side of Germany. So it will be South Korea with a small advantage to start things off here. A couple breaks on that big flow aim pattern, but they'll hold on to the lead. And this is a decently long, pretty consistently difficult flow aim hidden. It does bear some similarities to last week's Hidden 3, so you can definitely make, I think, a fair comparison between the two maps.
Absolutely. We just saw a big slider break there from WhiteCat on those really quick sliders there. Nopekjk going to be the second break now coming out of South Korea, but Criller will drop the final FC for Germany. It's Okinamo to recover after that initial break. Doing a good job of it. Shark lost quite a bit of accuracy with that chain missing earlier. Still going to sit below 50k because of it. every other player on Germany pushing above 100k. It's just Amamya Kokoro below for South Korea, going to rapidly approach that. And there's another break from WhiteCat. Karcher does find a break, though. It's down to worst HR player. This is the player that we've been talking about week in and week out on these hidden picks, who has been a massive help for South Korea, despite Karcher being the overwhelming carry for the team. Worst HR player coming through, but does break now. It's a big advantage for South Korea at the beginning, but there is combo on the side of Germany, and they're going to be able to claw a bunch of this. Score back with that break from Nopekjk.
South Korea has been a team that has really relied on their couple of big carries a lot of the time. Karcher, worst HR player, the names you'll hear us probably mentioning most frequently from that side. And as you know, what remains to be seen, of course, is how they and their team play in this grand final, or in this finals, pool, trying to reach the grand finals, because you know it gets to the point where perhaps a couple of those upper skill cap players from Germany can kind of take over. You see WhiteCat holding a solid combo along with Criller. Shark leading the way though for that team as they try to claw this score get back. So they're going to do into this guitar solo as long as they can hold. This is where things get really difficult, though. The spacing here is incredibly tricky. But apparently the player's just making it look easy, as the only break through this section so far comes from Okinamo. But he's joined by Shark, Criller, and Amamya Kokoro. And that means lead right back over to South Korea combo in their favor with WhiteCat, the only one holding for Germany.
Oh, these cut streams are absolutely disgusting, and we finally see breaks out of WhiteCat and Okinamo. Big combos for Germany. Karcher does find a miss, as well as Nopekjk to trade it back, but it's worst HR player, the only one to have a combo coming out of this section right now, showing absolute mastery of this skill set right now, finally dropping below 99% accuracy, trying to keep it above for as long as they can. It's working for South Korea so much right now. Amamya Kokoro is going to break right before the pause alongside Criller. And South Korea, they're not in the clear yet. They only have about 50,000 score to their name in favor of them, but Shark finding a break there is going to give them just a little bit more coming into the last couple bits of this map here. Worst HR player may be able to do enough for the South Korean team to get them this point.
This is a really amazing performance from worst HR player. I mean, we know what he's capable of on hidden flow AM picks. He FC'd that hidden 3 last week. He's going to come in and put up another great score this week. Looks like it should be enough to carry them as we come into the very end of the map. It's going to end up being pretty close. 100k or so is all that's going to separate the teams at the end of the day. But worst HR player coming in with an 1100 plus combo, hitting the entire ending.
Yes,
that is that's a 680k score to start the match off. Worst HR player has come to play. He is prepared. He is ready to go. He's dropping a 2-miss 99 act 680k score on the first map on a very difficult hidden 3. And really, if you look around the lobby, no one even close to matching that. Next best score, 468k from Karcher, and then just other scores in the 400k region. Worst HR player kind of in a league of his own on that map, and starts off the match the right way. South Korea 1-0 on their own first pick, looking very strong.
That was exceptional from worst HR player, very much living up to the name of what they've given to themselves in previous weeks here. South Korea has utilized worst HR player very heavily on these hidden picks. It's going to be Nomad 2 for Germany to start this match off. I think this is a route that many of us saw coming from them here.
South Korea did go the double tapping mechanics bans. They banned out DT3, free mod 2, so high BPM tapping, double time, high BPM tapping, free mod banned out by South Korea. That is in respect of the Germany ability to play those tapping mechanics maps. Germany flipping it the other way around, free mod 4, no mod 5, the two very awkward maps, some rhythm, some reading banned out. So you can kind of see, both with the bans and now with each team's first pick, where they're looking like they might want to play in this pool. South Korea going to want to go into the more niche maps, whereas Germany is going to want to go more into the mechanics picks. And starting off with a roster of WhiteCat, Okinamo, Risiing, and Smarteyy on a Nomad 2 that is ridiculously stamina draining is a very good place for Germany to start off. Just like the hidden 3 kind of awkward flow aim was a very good place for South Korea to start off, with their roster being as strong on those skill sets as it is. That being said, South Korea is a team you can't count out on really any skill set. They actually won the head-to-head on Nomad 2 between these two teams last week. Germany perhaps underperforming a little bit on that map, will look to recover that score this week. But it's something to bear in mind that South Korea can play these maps. They have Karcher, they have Zdaysen, they have Parisia and worst HR player to fill in. So this could be a map that is much more competitive than one might think immediately at first glance, at face value.
Well, looking for South Korea to prove that to us once we get to the really difficult section of this map here. I think this is the type of Nomad 2 where if you're a fairly competent stream player, you should be able to make it through almost the first 1,000 combo of this map pretty comfortably, and we're seeing a lot of that from everyone in here. It's just worst HR player to find a little bit of a slider break at the beginning here, and, you know, we'll kind of forgive that just because of the style of this map. It's 100% possible even to be comfortable on this map and still find a break somewhere here at the beginning. Did a good job of recovering, and we're looking at high accuracies really across the board here. South Korea sitting just a little bit lower than Germany on this one. They've got Smarteyy and WhiteCat way up there alongside Risiing. Okinamo finally pushing above 99% to give them the full team above 99. Karcher will drop the double S into this next section here. Parisia going to fall below 99 as well. But all that matters is that worst HR player finds the recovery from that very early break, and now we're going to start to get into the really difficult section of the map right here. This is where the stamina is going to count. This is where the finger control comes into play. You've got to be able to transition between these constant streams and sliders back and forth. Buzz sliders as well. Possible to find some breaks on those. Everyone looking so comfortable on this type of thing, and it's worst HR player to find a break again, alongside Smarteyy though.
Smarteyy missed the last note before that spinner. You hate to see it. Maybe it's the little under tap. Hard to say. But that leaves things a little more even combo-wise than they could have been otherwise. Germany is going to have that 90,000 K lead or so. Worst HR player finding another break, but it's traded once again. So it is still the 3 FCs to 3. You still can see any one break shifting the outcome pretty quickly. And with this being 4.5 minutes long, right, you have a lot more stamina called into question than you normally would. Most Nomad 2s do not end up being quite this long, and it's a break from WhiteCat, and Parisia trades, but Okinamo with another. There goes Risiing. Germany has reset. It is Zason and Karcher now to try to build this lead over to South Korea. It goes very quickly here, and that is a massive combo advantage with a double FC against only a 400 combo on Smarteyy. They're the players I said to watch out for, right? Karcher and Zason so good at tapping maps. Karcher just does not miss ever, it would seem.
I'm terrified.
And Zason is amazing at tapping. And just like that, oh, he fell off though. Oh, Zason, no. Oh, that was avert your eyes. Don't watch his screen there. That was sad to see. But Karcher still on the full combo and still leading the way for South Korea to try to take a break point here.
No, this isn't how you're supposed to play the game, Karcher. Please. This map is so much more difficult than it leads on at this ending section right here. Being able to consistently maintain your cursor speed while still tapping BPMs like this is such a difficult skill set in a high pressure situation for these players. So exactly what we're watching right now from Karcher is just the epitome of being comfortable on a singular style of map right now. And unfortunately for Germany, it's gonna come at the expense of a few mistakes, and now capitalizing on them. South Korea going to be taking the first break point of this match, despite Germany putting up a 2.5 million team score. It's going to be the 2.8, relatively close to million team score for South Korea into the ending, and that's a break point to start us off by 324,000 points. It's an FC from Karcher.
You know, worst HR player came ready to play on the Hidden 3, and Karcher came ready to play on the Nomad 2. This is exactly why this Nomad 2 was a little scarier than you might have expected it to be into this South Korea team, because Karcher's tapping is out of this world. And you can see just nobody from Germany able to match. They had 4 scorers all within 25,000 points of each other. Remarkable team consistency. But South Korea had 2 scores that were higher than any of them, and a third that was right up there with WhiteCat for the top score on Germany as well. Only worst HR player really a little bit behind. After seeing what Malashevsky and Michny did on this for Poland yesterday, I really think the sky's the limit, because players have shown that they can play this to a level higher than you might, expect for how difficult of a Nomad 3 this is. But it is definitely a tough one to keep a combo throughout. All of the key eyes are difficult. The ending spikes incredibly hard. So you gotta keep your nerve. It's another very long map. We're seeing a lot of very long maps in this pool, so a lot of consistency tests in addition to the raw mechanical tests. But again, you know, South Korea leaning into that sort of gimmick skill set, you know, fewer mechanics picks for them, more maps like this where it's a little less straightforward. Some very awkward alt aim required for this pick. But again, it's Karcher worst HR player. It's WhiteCat criller on the other side. You got the big guns coming out. So we'll see who can perform the best on a map that is very difficult to be consistently great on.
Well, spiky patterns kind of have that effect in this map right here. You know, you get this really nice mellow intro. If you're comfortable with alt maps at this final stage, this beginning section should be absolutely no issue for you. The big difference is going to come just past the quarter waypoint in this map when it really starts to get difficult into that first ki, and it's kind of big because the first super hard section of this map comes pretty close to right before, you know, kind of that third point or halfway, and that's really a section where we can see some complete meltdowns from players here if you're not comfortable with the patterning. You've got the first few space patterns, and now you get these cut circles here, and it's going to be worst HR player in Okinamo to trade out the first one, as well as Grissimo and Shark, but Karcher is going to find a break. It's going to be Criller and WhiteCat to hold. We know how dangerous Criller could be, but he does find a break. It's down to 1 FC to 1 already.
Yeah, these KIs hit you like a truck. The difficulty of these patterns cannot be understated. There are some that look simple and are harder than they look. There are some that look hard and are as hard as they look. And you can see them catching a lot of players out here. 6 FCs dropped. Nopekjk versus WhiteCat, the lone FCs remaining. WhiteCat in a small accuracy advantage. Germany, just the tiniest of score leads through that first KI section. And Grissimo breaks on that little circle burst going into the slow part. Halfway through, it is only about a 50,000 point lead for Germany. Nothing to write home about as of yet. A lot of maps still to come. But they can start to eke out just a little bit of a lead here. Just a tiny little bit of advantage as worst HR player is the next to break.
There goes Nopekjk one more time alongside worst HR player on that section before the slowdown here. Now it's back in Germany's hands. No consolidated breakpoint for South Korea, it seems to be looking like just yet. It's just Karcher on about a 600 combo to try and go up against Germany right now, but being matched by Shark, WhiteCat 1200 combo, okinamo pushing up as well as Criller 500 on both of them. This is looking to be very likely to be Germany's point here. Kriller's gonna break on that really quick space stream after, as well as Shark. Nopekjk trades out one of those breaks. They need the big combo on Karcher to trade if they want to be safe. There goes WhiteCat. Karcher's gonna be able to bring this one back to South Korea here if he really wants to.
It's going to be a tough task for him, though, because Okinamo is holding a 680 combo on the side of Germany. That is only about 150 combo behind Karcher, and there falls Karcher as well. And now this break point might have just solidified itself. Okinamo continuing to hold on. A 200,000 point lead for Germany. Doesn't look like there's going to be enough time for South Korea to do much about that. Okinamo doing what Ristel and what Micelle did yesterday and comboing through a lot of that ending. Finally breaks, unfortunately, so it will not be an ending FC from him. Worst HR player, by the way, quietly held through that entire section. It just never really mattered, unfortunately, because they were a couple 100K behind. And so instead of a consolidated breakpoint, we're going to see a breakpoint right back for Germany. A very good team-wide performance from them. Once again, WhiteCat on that big combo to establish the lead, and then the other members playing their role in the back half of the map in order to maintain that advantage. And this one looks a lot like the previous map, where, again, Germany just had a couple of scorers that were better than anybody's on South Korea, and that helped them to that lead. It's 2-1. It's Germany's pick. They can tie it up, but now they're going to be thinking about it a little bit more. You mentioned before this pick, with South Korea winning that Nomad 2, it calls into question whether or not Germany can safely pick tapping mechanic maps. So it will be very interesting to see where they go with this next selection.
Distinctly remember last week being on this Germany match and having everyone keep their eyes open for that Neox Risiing combo. They have been kind of that dangerous pair for Germany on these double time picks in previous weeks, but we are on a DT1 right now, which is also pretty far into WhiteCat's wheelhouse. Starting off at the beginning of the map, it looks like we're not sitting too close into Parisia's, but we'll see if maybe they recover pretty well here. Looks to be kind of a fluke miss for a quick start at the beginning of the map, but it is going to give just a little bit of a score advantage to Germany to keep it on their side, despite some lower accuracies on a few players here.
This is an interesting pick in that it takes worst HR player out of the lobby, notably. Karcher staying in, but it's Parisia, Allegrisimo, and Nongsa this time around. So you lose out on one of your big carry performers. It's an early trade there from Allegrisimo and Risiing, but the lead will stay with Germany on the back of the triple FC versus just one and a near FC. And you said it. I mean, this is WhiteCat's bread and butter. How did he get known? It's for his aim. He is possibly the single best aim player in the game. And so a map like this is just so comfortable for him. And you can see just the ease at which he combos through these early patterns is really remarkable. Couple breaks coming out here and there. Nongsa, Risiing. But it's really just about Germany at this point. It's criller, WhiteCat, Neox, all holding FCs as casual as you like through the first roughly half the map. Neox finally does break, but they're in a decent spot already. 300,000 point lead. This is going to be a little more definitive, it appears, than a couple of the earlier maps were.
And not too much time for these breaks here right now. It's Allegrisimo and Neox to trade out once again. And there goes Parisia. Gonna trade out with Criller, but that's even better for Germany as that was the remaining FC on the side of South Korea. It's now WhiteCat uncontested against the world, against South Korea. Gonna hit the massive jump spike into the pause. And I think that might just be all she wrote for this pick, assuming WhiteCat doesn't have a complete meltdown at the ending of this map right now. Karcher has a 500 combo, but before the pause, we get a chance to see that Risiing has built up a pretty substantial amount of combo to combat a bit of that. WhiteCat just going to run away with this into the ending here. We get the final few sections of triples, and like you said, like we've gone time in and time out, WhiteCat easily the best player at this skill set. We've seen so many people come and go on this DT1 skill set, and WhiteCat every single time prevails without fail. We're going to come into the last couple sections of the map here, looking for the completion from WhiteCat, the final stand into the last few jumps. Can he do it into the ending triples? And he does. WhiteCat gets the FC, and that is securing a 500,000 plus score victory for Team Germany, the only FC in the lobby, and this match is back to even.
It's the strat here for Germany. WhiteCat, go. And WhiteCat went. The lone FC in the lobby, the top scorer by nearly 400,000 points. That is just his calling card, and he proved it. Not much more to be said about a map like that. It was never in doubt because Germany had that FC in their back pocket, and South Korea could not match it.
Continuously been discussed as one of the more difficult maps in this pool, Half/Slash known for making kind of these we call it extra stage and more extra difficult. This is Half/Slash is great at doing these super precision oriented, hard rock frame mods, but also, making sure that there's an adequate challenge for the hidden players on this type of free mod. And I guess the advantage right now sits with who's able to maintain that through a 4-minute plus long Zun song. And we haven't really had a chance to see many mods out of these teams yet. We do know that South Korea did win their first hidden 3 pick, and we've played 2 no mod maps and then the DT since. So we're still looking for maybe our first glimpse of the hard rock rosters for these teams today. And that could be a pretty big difference maker on a pick like this where, I think hard rock is maybe arguably the more difficult mod to take on this.
I think this map is hard with either mod. The term anti-mod has come into use for maps like this for a reason. You're either getting 6.5 circle size precision aim, or you're getting that low AR hidden reading. I will disagree with you. I do think hidden is probably harder than hard rock on this, but it's difficult either way. And this is a map, right? A slot that neither of these teams played last week. We didn't see either of them play the free mod 3 that was, again, they're the smaller circles, low approach rate. We also didn't see either of them playing a hidden 2, so no low approach rate hidden. So this is kind of a skill set that we don't have a direct comparison between these teams on. And it'll be a very interesting one, I think, to watch. I do feel that South Korea has a very, very strong free mod roster. You've got, the reading capability of worst HR player. You've got the hard rock ability of Karcher. But Germany never slouches when it comes to mod maps. So, Smarteyy and Criller on the hard rock, Shark on the hidden will be a formidable roster, I think, for a pick like this. But it does feel perhaps like South Korea chose wisely here. We'll see how it goes, whether or not that's proven true or not.
Well, you've got Amamya Kokoro dropping. Now Smarteyy goes too, though. Oh, and another one from Amamya Kokoro. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of these types of breaks in this map. Oh gosh, Amamya Kokoro really not having a good time at the beginning of this. We've seen a couple of breaks from Smarteyy and Shark here, but looking for a bit of an improvement from that hidden player on the side of South Korea. With Amamya Kokoro being so kind of uncomfortable at the beginning of this map, I do wonder if maybe we're just getting that hidden tank and then worst HR player is going to try and come out here with some crazy no mod combo, which is kind of the strategy for these later stage free mod maps for some of these teams here. If you've got some really consistent good players, you want them to be on the most comfortable mod you can possibly put them on. And right now, looking pretty good for worst HR player. Shark is going to find a break, as well as Karcher and Nopekjk. That is everybody resetting on South Korea except for worst HR player. But everyone on Germany is now gone. It's just Smarteyy left.
And now Smartey's gone as well.
Oh my god.
So in the entire lobby, it is now just worst HR player. Everybody has broken, and worst HR player, meanwhile, let's just say he has an FC, and ignore past that. And this is going to be South Korea now able to establish a little bit of a lead. They've got basically his full combo worth of combo advantage over the entirety of Germany's performance so far. And you can see why we talk about how difficult this map is. The angles, the reading, the tapping, everything in this is just hard. There's no easy aspect of this map. And it's why you see a lot of players having not the greatest of time. As we get a little bit of a pause. There we go.
There's some internets. We've seen that a few times.
Yeah, but worst HR player just single-handedly making a 170, 180,000 point lead for South Korea here.
I mean, if you're comfortable on this map, you are 100% going to be the difference maker, because I can guarantee you most players are not going to be comfortable on this pick right here. You do have to wonder if it was an interesting strategy for Germany to go with the over mod on this. They're running the double hard rock. Smarteyy gonna find another break here. Worst HR player will tragically drop the double S we were trying to not mention for a little while there. Criller gonna drop on the hard rock, as well as Shark for Germany here. It's just down to WhiteCat once again. Karcher has built up the hard rock combo. And it's looking to be pretty comfortably in the favor of South Korea, all things considered right now. There is absolutely nobody on Germany that's able to contest whatever is happening on South Korea, especially with that WhiteCat combo break. There goes Shark again alongside Smarteyy, and it's just continuous breaks from the German team. And worst HR player finally misses, but not before putting up 650,000 score.
Yeah, that's a heck of a play. It looks like a little shake and perhaps a little bit of misaim on that overlapping stream, but this is just a good team-wide performance. It's what we're seeing. It's what you kind of expect to see in this stage, but it's a team-wide performance of their backing scores, and worst HR player putting up a ridiculous score on his own. And, I feel with this pick that Germany couldn't ban out everything that they weren't going to be able to perform well on, and this was just kind of on that list. So, thinking about the overmod with hard rock, it's just, make this some semblance of comfort for a couple of players. Try to make it a little easier on yourself, but knowing that it's a map that you're not likely to do super well on. Not typically a great reading team, not typically a great low AR team. And so South Korea are going to be able to take advantage of that. They're going to take the 3-2 lead. And they're going to do it on the back of a 734k no mod score from worst HR player. That is a remarkably good performance.
That is outstanding from worst HR player. Understandably, on the no mod, you want one of your better players at this skill set and, you know, kind of this approach rating. Pretty comfortable for worst HR player. Karcher putting up almost 600,000 on the Hard Rock. And best score on Germany coming out, WhiteCat 453k, 435k from Criller on the Hard Rock as well. Looking pretty decent, just with a couple more breaks than we saw out of Karcher to lower the maximum combo there. But that is pretty comfortable South Korea point on their own pick. Germany now going to look to respond to that. You know, we have gotten rid of the kind of break point fluke at the beginning of the match there for both teams, one in and one out. And now Germany going to be looking for their third point on the board to continue contesting South Korea on this finals pool. Again, there's so much left here that both teams can choose from. We have yet to touch the Hard Rock pool. There's still the no mod tech map up. There's still plenty of the DT pool, half of that remaining.
See how this one goes to them. If they could steal another break point on another tapping focus pick, it would be a pretty remarkable showing. But I think this one maybe favored a little more toward Germany than the Nomad 2 was.
Well, we have yet to see something this fast in this match. Interesting for Germany, they're not going to be running with Neox on this one. It's going to be the substitution in for Okinamo, who we don't normally see on every DT, but we have seen before. So no stranger to these picks, but it's definitely not the same roster that they were running with last week, and I thought last week's DT roster looked pretty strong. It's going to be Parisia to find the first break here. Everyone on Germany looking pretty comfortable right now. It's a second break from Parisia, and low accuracies on Zayson and Nongsa right now. Aimbot Coleman Okinamo leaves something to be desired, but it's WhiteCat and Okinamo to find breaks. It's Zayson to trade out, and Nongsa. And now it's super far in the favor of Germany with just Karcher left up on the FC.
Yeah, that's about, what, 300 combo and change worth of combo advantage to Germany. One FC and, you know, 350 combo on that Parisia recovery. Double FC's got to hold for quite some time. It's a Parisia trade with WhiteCat. That's actually worse off for South Korea than it is for Germany, because Germany does maintain their double FC, and now there's not much backing combo for Karcher. So you've got Aimbot Cone and Risiing kind of just free to fly here as Germany attempts to take this lead out even more. As we get towards the halfway mark, everybody managed to hold except for Parisia through that last little section. It's a tricky little bit. We've seen some people break right before this break in the map. And now it starts over. We go back to square one. The song is going to repeat itself. And we'll see, for Germany's sake, if their lead can repeat itself as well. It would be about a 400,000 point lead, of course, if they can do that, which they would love to see. But there's a break quickly from Aimbot Cone, so that's going to be their advantage dwindling. It's Risiing versus Karcher, the two FCs left on the board.
Aimbot Cone finding a little bit of a slider break on that quick section right there, but Risiing has been the player on Germany to find it. He finds a break. It's Okinamo, though, to hold a combo. Karcher has the FC. Nongsa is matching Okinamo. Zayson matching WhiteCat. Parisia, Aimbot Cone. It's just the difference. There goes Parisia and Risiing.
It was Karcher time until it wasn't. It was so close to Karcher time. Now you've got Okinamo WhiteCat matching Nongsa and Zayson. It's a tight race, though, coming into this ending. There's places to miss, but as long as Okinamo and WhiteCat hold, this should be an okay spot for Germany to be in. They're tied combo-wise, and that's enough to hold on to the lead into the ending slider. And it ends up being about a 200k victory for Germany on their pick. 3-3 goes the score. That one was a little closer than the DT1 was. S ranks out of WhiteCat and Nongsa, but Germany comes away with it. And now we are out of tapping maps. But Germany has made the best of a couple of mechanical picks in a row to tie it up at 3-all.
Well, tapping gone, at least for some higher BPM tapping here. Germany maybe going to have to start to look towards the aim pool a little bit now. We talk pretty often about WhiteCat being one of the best aim players in the game, kind of still holding up into even after he no longer has the title of #1 player. And that could be a big advantage for Germany, especially going up against players like Karcher and WorstHRPlayer, who have proven to be extremely proficient across the aim skill set. There is Hidden 1 still up. Hard Rock 1 we have yet to see this weekend as well. It's going to be Hidden 2 for South Korea. To start them off, they're going to go in for the flow aim hidden pick here. This is kind of pretty similar in terms of what we saw to something like their opening pick on Hidden 3, funny enough, where there's just these kind of cut patterns on here. A little bit more tech-oriented on this one, a little bit shorter, but cut style, really dense aim hidden is really the patterns that we're looking for on this one. And I think if WorstHRPlayer has maintained the consistency from the first hidden pick, they'll do very well for themselves on this.
Yeah, WorstHRPlayer is actually terrifying on maps like this. hidden tech. Of course, worth pointing out that the Hidden 2 this week is not really very similar to your conventional Hidden 2, where it's a low AR reading pick. This one is, like Chiller was saying, a flow tech type of map, which means that it's not going to be quite so one-sided as you might expect it to be based on the low AR performance on the free mod. This does give Germany, I think, a better chance at putting up a good performance. But WorstHRPlayer, Nopekjk, Karcher, all really good at both tech and hidden tech. So I think South Korea have a scary roster on a map like this. Really, you don't think of Okinamo and Shark as much as tech players. Criller and WhiteCat probably will be fine. But I think as far as a 4-man squad goes, South Korea have probably a better lineup for this map, making it a pretty good pick for them. We'll see if anybody can repeat. I believe it was Malashevsky putting up a near FC on this yesterday. See if somebody can do that here in this match today. Wouldn't surprise me at all if it was a WorstHRPlayer FC, because that guy has been playing very well so far this match.
He has looked extremely good in this match, but on the side of Germany, you do have the good old classic Criller Okinamo combo on a hidden flow aim map, which is pretty scary as well. Okinamo has kind of been revered over the years for his ability to play these hidden maps, and Criller, being one of the biggest carries on the German team, is also very good at it. It's going to be WorstHRPlayer and Amamya Kokoro to find breaks for South Korea right at the starting of this map here. Nopekjk and Karcher are going to have to hold the fort down against a 4-way FC from Germany out of the start of this map right now. Looking a little bit more comfortable through these sliders and these quick bursts here. Criller's going to drop his SS, and Nopekjk drops combo as well as WorstHRPlayer and Amamya Kokoro. But Criller and Shark going to trade it out. Back to the same thing we saw in the DT now, 2 FCs to 1. It's Karcher versus the double FC on Germany.
Okinamo and WhiteCat doing their thing, keeping this lead intact for Germany. Karcher has his hands full, trying to maintain any sort of stability for South Korea's score. It's going to need to be a break out of one of those full combos on Germany's side if South Korea wants a chance at a comeback, unless the others just completely fall apart. 100,000 point lead to the side of the Germans. This would be a pretty big break point, because this makes some other picks kind of scary going forward. It's all going to come down to how long WhiteCat Okinamo can hold the double FC against Karcher's FC over on South Korea's side. Not a lot of breaks anywhere else, just Shark having a little bit of trouble with both the accuracy and the combo. But other than that, things staying pretty even. That's a 100k lead, sitting basically still.
I mean, there's really not much South Korea is going to be able to do here, unfortunately. They've got a little bit of a combo advantage. There goes Okinamo on the back and forth sliders. But Nopekjk and Amamya Kokoro are going to trade out both of those. But WhiteCat breaks at the ending. This Karcher trades, though. It's going to be Criller to hold it down for just a little bit longer. It's going to go back over, though, with the WorstHRPlayer and Amamya Kokoro combo.
Oh, this is going to be so close. Wait, Amamya Kokoro has 800. Where did that 800 combo come? He got banshowed, and then he broke again?
I think they have it. South Korea has it.
I think South Korea is going to take... I don't actually know what happened there at the ending. There was that... I swear to God, Amamya Kokoro did not have that combo when I looked before.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't even looking at that point. My eyes were on Karcher that entire time.
But it's a 20,000 point win for South Korea nonetheless. We love our sliders and our buzz sliders in the tournament client here. That was about as close as it could get. Unfortunately, Germany just didn't have a second combo at the very, very end. And really, it comes down, as much as it pains me to say it, it comes down to Shark just having a bad time. 428k, lowest score in the lobby by almost 80,000 points, and they lose by 20k. I mean, you know, it's spelled out kind of in black and white for you right there. Germany were that close to a break point that would have been really big, putting them up 4-3 with their own pick to come. But instead, it's South Korea taking that very same 4-3 lead, and Germany still playing from behind with that second pick.
Yeah, you gotta feel bad for Shark. You know, has played the hidden 3, has now played the hidden 2. Shark is, you know, not really a hidden player in my mind. But, you know, unfortunately, I think sometimes you just don't have the fourth that you really think that you have or that you need on these hidden picks, and Shark has kind of been forced to come in for both of these now. Has bottom scored both hiddens, has done a good job of trying to keep up, came pretty close to Nopekjk on that one and wasn't too far behind on the hidden 3, but you know, it is kind of the difference between, you know, some of these picks here is being able to put up a slightly stronger 4-player roster compared to the other team. And, you know, like we saw, you know, just even evidenced at that last hidden 2, Nopekjk, just a little bit stronger to give that fourth. And here's Germany going in for the aim that we mentioned. We talked about them kind of running through the higher BPM tapping picks. They're now going to go into some big aim on the Barking Mad Dog here. 210 BPM. They're still trying to keep it high on here, but this is a completely new area of the pool that we haven't really had a glimpse of outside of the DT1, and that sits at AR 10.3, which I would argue is a very different skill set from a Nomad 1, which has slightly bigger jumps by you know, starting to space things out a little bit more, little bit lower BPM on the 210, and then there's Barking Mad Dog styled stuff, which is just constant vertical jumps and big points of difficulty.
Are there any mouse players in this lobby? Because BMD maps on mouse are like actually doomed, from according to basically every mouse player I've talked to in tournaments. His patterning is relentless aim in a way that very few other Nomad 1 mappers have really embraced. This is a very, very tough Nomad 1 pick. It looks good, I think, based on the DT1 result, though. Germany's aim looked very, very good. South Korea's aim looked a little less stable. But the question is, you know, you mentioned that one being AR 10.3 and 230 or 230 BPM. Yeah, 260 BPM. Excuse me, and 260 BPM. Versus this one that's, you know, AR 9.8 and 210 BPM. It's lower BPM, but the spacing of the jumps is bigger, so it kind of transitioned that skill set a little over. We'll see how it goes. You've got Okinamo and Neox. Are those not like Nomad 2 DT2 players now in for Nomad 1? Interesting.
Okinamo just missed the first note of the map.
That might have just been the fight, though. I'm not gonna.
I'm looking at Knack drop too, man. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was all right.
Okinamo not paying attention. Well. What's Germany's roster for this? I don't understand. I mean, criller WhiteCat, fine, but like, I don't really know that I understand the rest of their roster for this. Meanwhile, Korea's got their normal squad, right? Worst HR player Karcher, and they're joined by Parisi and Alagrissimo. This German roster makes no sense to me for an aim map, not gonna lie.
I'm okay with this just because I think Neox is a DT aim player, and I think that, you know, while Okinamo might not be the typical Nomad 1 player you think of, Okinamo does have more OWC experience than anybody in this lobby right now, and I wonder if that kind of comfortable spot from being so seasoned in OWC matches will help his consistency, because he's just not going to get nervous like some players will. So maybe that's what they're counting on right now, is that kind of like veteran tier experience on a really good player like Okinamo. But it's 3 breaks out of South Korea at the beginning of the Nomad 1 right now.
Yeah, worst HR player holding down the fort as best he can, but Okinamo, WhiteCat, criller, and even Neox. I mean, he broke right at the beginning of the first like 30 combo and has been holding ever since. So obviously Germany knows their roster a lot better than I do, and that's why they have this squad in, and that's why they're performing as well as they are. There is the break to come out from Okinamo, but it's not the end of the world. Karcher had broken only about 100 combo before. Germany's going to continue to hold on to a comfy near 200k lead. Veteran performance from Okinamo, well, we'll see how it pans out the rest of the way. He's the only player to have a real big miss, but WhiteCat, the aim player of all aim players, and then criller and Neox looking pretty good for themselves as well.
Yeah, everyone's hitting that 1/3 there. Nobody's going to get caught out on that pattern. Everyone hitting the square afterwards as well. We've got another set of big jumps coming up right after this little refrain right here. After these... And there we go, making it through the first set of them. We'll get into this next key eye. Some good accuracy all around for the players remaining. The big thing, and there goes WhiteCat for Germany. Worst HR players combo is going to start to become a little more effective when backed up by Parisia, close to FCing now. Okinamo's matching Karcher best he can right now. It's enough to keep Germany in the lead. It's going to slow the score gain back down. But Allegrissimo and Neox trade misses.
That's still okay for South Korea trying to bring this score back. It's not the end of the world. It's Criller and Okinamo on an FC and a 550 combo against worst HR player on an FC, but Parisia and Karcher both. With a near 1,000 and a 700 combo, it's only... Now that's less than 200k coming into the last quarter of the map. If all three of those members of South Korea can hold on, they can't. It's Parisia to break before the big stream. And that might snuff out their hopes of a comeback victory on this pick unless we see breaks from Germany very soon.
Oh, it's Criller and worst HR player. It's down to these two. There's enough time left. It's 800k. Criller breaks! Worst HR player can bring this back. He has more than enough potential score.
And it's not just him, but also look at Karcher, 900 plus combo. You cannot ignore that because he's matching Okinamo, which basically makes worst HR players score free. It's an FC and it's free, and he's still got 100k left. It's breaks from Parisia and Allegrissimo, but that's not the players that Germany needs to see breaks from in South Korea. This is going to go over at the hands of worst HR player in Karcher. The aim pick backfiring on Germany. The lead goes over into the end. The FC from worst HR player, the huge combo from Karcher. And South Korea take the break point on the Nomad 1. It is now 5-3. They are 2 points away from a victory on a surprising comeback upset win on the Nomad 1 pick.
14,000 score difference between these teams, and it was all on the FC from worst HR player there. Everyone else was pretty much dead even on both of these teams here. Karcher, Allegrissimo, and Parisia all pretty much matching up evenly with Okinamo, Neox, and WhiteCat. It's the difference between worst HR player being able to hold on into the ending and the absolutely tragic miss from Criller. 2x100 into the ending of that map, absolutely smashing the accuracy of every single player on the entire lobby. I guess with the exceptions of Neox and Karcher, who came within 1 and 2 100s of him, but still, that one miss, the only barrier between Germany and South Korea right there. So that's a break point again for South Korea here. They're going to get a chance to try and consolidate it again. They didn't have an opportunity to do it last time. They're going to take a timeout before they go into this next pick. Kind of a smart position if you're South Korea. This is, you know, not just any break point that they can consolidate here. This is a consolidated break point that could get them match point. So we're looking for a pretty big scenario here for South Korea. Potential enough to force Germany to have to win 3 consecutive picks afterwards.
Yeah, this is a very important pick coming up. Lots riding on the line. Makes sense that South Korea would want to use that timeout now. They have now won a tapping pick and an aim pick. 2 basically just straight up raw mechanics maps against a Germany team that people talk about nonstop as being this mechanical force. South Korea is showing today their depth of skill is a seemingly never-ending well that they can draw from. When you have players like Worst HR player and Karcher that are putting up the performances they are, it is a remarkable thing because it gives you so much freedom with your picks and so much ability to take break points on anything. It puts so much pressure on your opponents. Germany picking into the Nomad 2 and losing it, Germany picking into the Nomad 1 and losing it. Like, those are points you would expect Germany to win 99% of the time, but South Korea just coming out and performing better on them. So the big question here after their timeout is what map it's going to be that they pick to try to get them to this match point. All three Hard Rocks still up, the Hidden 1 up, Fremont 1 up. Like, the options are interesting to say the least.
They're thin options too. Because all things considered, you mentioned, a lot of these picks going the way of South Korea is, picks that Germany would, again, win 99% of the time. And I think that's something interesting to note on the side of South Korea, too, is that both of these previous two picks that they have won have been by margins of 20,000 points or less across a 4-player roster. So, yes, you expect Germany to win 99% of the time, but these are also like 1% scenarios for South Korea to win these picks by that margin there. So, if you really look at it the other way, this could be completely different. Germany could be the ones that were up, 5-3 right now, and this would be a completely different match. So I think going into something like this Hard Rock 3 right now, the untouched Hard Rock pool so far, we're looking for a completely new area of this pool that South Korea is now going to see if they can possibly make it out of. And this German roster is, they will not shy away from a Hard Rock pick, especially a really high-intensity alt-styled snap pick like this one. This is one of the most difficult maps in the Hard Rock pool, and I don't know if there's much contention with that for here. So, we're looking for Germany to potentially get their break point now rather than later, and I think that's what they're hoping for as well. South Korea getting match point here would be kind of do-or-die situation for Germany at that point.
Yeah, the pressure is kind of all in Germany now. The break point to go up 5-3 is such a huge spot to be in since it puts you 1 point away from a match point. And this is an interesting sort of pick because it doesn't really... it's something that doesn't really fit with what we've seen so far. I mean, you could, I guess, make the argument that it has some flow components similar to something like the Hidden 2 or the Hidden 3, but there's a lot of rhythm and a lot of quick snap aim in this one that isn't present in a lot of the other picks in this pool. It's a larger circle size Hard Rock as well, which is something unusual. You typically don't see Hard Rock picks under CS5. This one is, 3.9 or something like that. So what it takes away from the precision aspect of Hard Rock, it definitely throws back at you in putting accuracy at a premium, putting rhythm sense at a premium. And that's something that South Korea has been very good at. You saw their performance on Free Mod 4 last week, I believe top in the entire tournament. Clearly a team that's very good at tapping in the finger control and rhythm sense. In addition to, they won a Nomad 2. They're good at the stamina aspect of it as well. So this is what they're going to say is their best option to try to force a tiebreaker, or try to force a tiebreaker in the worst case scenario. It forces a match point if they win it. And Germany, like you said, they'd have to win 3 points in a row from there just to force TB. So South Korea putting all the pressure on Germany, and they've looked good in situations like this so far. They did drop that one break point early on, but other than that, their picks have looked very strong.
We've got a couple early breaks here coming out of the Hard Rock. This map doesn't pull any punches. It gets started right away here. Worst HR player, Aimbot Cone, going to trade out misses, as well as Zason and Risiing at the beginning here. It's going to be down to these combos on the side of criller, WhiteCat, Karcher, Amamya Kokoro, sitting a slightly lower accuracy for the FCing pair on the side of South Korea right now, but they are going to keep the advantage on that break from Aimbot Cone. The score was just barely in their favor, but there goes Zason. So regardless of what breaks we've seen out of Germany so far, South Korea has traded them out. South Korea really wants to win this pick. It's Risiing to find a break as well. Germany They're breaking just a little bit more often than South Korea. It's going to give about 100,000 score lead. This map is not long. Worst HR player breaks. Aimbot cone drops 2. It's still the FCs remaining on Germany and South Korea, though. It's down to these 2 FCs, whoever breaks first.
It's the carry players for Germany, WhiteCat and criller, the ones you expect and need to come through in the clutch against Karcher, who has been the captain, the leader of South Korea, but Amamya Kokoro will break, and that gives Germany the opportunity they needed because WhiteCat and criller are still holding on. That lead is going to go back over to the Germany side. There go Amamya Kokoro and Zason again. Aimbot, Cone, and Risiing are able to build up a bit of combo, but WhiteCat falls, as do the other 2, and now it is criller against Karcher, but the backing combo now is on the side of South Korea. It's worst HR player to back up Karcher to try to hold on to this lead. It's only a couple thousand points, but it might just be enough.
It's gonna be enough. The accuracy on criller is not gonna be able to do enough against the good combo from worst HR player, and there's no backing score for criller. There's no way we're gonna see 2 FCs on this map. Wow. Karcher and criller with 2 absolutely exceptional FCs. WhiteCat kind of doing more damage on that accuracy than anything. You know, it was the second highest combo in the entire lobby, but was only 24,000 points above worst HR player, despite having 300 more combo because of 92% AC. And unironically, that could have been the difference between Germany winning and losing that. That's 124,000 score easily.
Yeah.
And then, wow.
That AC is tragic from WhiteCat. You're right. That, I don't know if it would have been enough to just win straight up, but it would have been enough to make that incredibly close at the very least. That much accuracy is a lot of score. His
goes to show how hard that map is.
His combo's 300 shy of the FC.
Yeah.
Boy, that would have been tight. Just 3% better accuracy. Hard to say.
In case you were wondering if that map is hard,
Yeah.
WhiteCat has just shown you just how hard that map is. Criller and Karcher are not normal, by the way.
Yeah, double FC on that is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
And now, South Korea, after being down 5-2 and having to come back and win on tiebreaker against Canada, after being down 5-3 and having to come back and win on tiebreaker against the United States, now they've flipped the script. It's 6-3 match points to them. They're only getting better as this tournament goes on. And now they put Germany up against the wall. They have to win 3 points in a row just to force a tiebreaker. And that also will mean winning a break point, in addition to 2 of their own picks. As the pool gets smaller and smaller, it's going to be the Hard Rock 2. Germany is going to say, this is our best shot to at least claw back one of these match points. It's the precision. It's got a lot of aim. It's got a lot of streams. Germany has historically been very good at these CS 6.5 Hard Rock maps. But the pressure has never been higher as Germany once again faces elimination in winner's bracket final. Down to the losers.
I really don't know what to think right now for this match. You know, I think we are in for an absolute ride on these next 3 picks. If Germany is somehow able to pull this off, I think we could consider it one of the most impressive performances we have seen in this tournament to date. Winning 3 points in a row against this South Korea team is an absolutely seemingly insurmountable feat for almost every team in this tournament with how well South Korea has been playing. And Germany, they are your reigning second place 2 years in a row. South Korea, third place from last year. Germany have a lot to prove right now on this Hard Rock 2 to keep themselves in this. They've also got to go against South Korea on tiebreaker, and if you've looked at the US and Canada, you know that you don't want to touch tiebreaker against this South Korean team. But again, a long ways to go for Germany before we can hit that point. They went immediately back into a Hard Rock Precision pick after just barely losing the Hard Rock 3. First HR player going to find a bit of a misaim at the beginning here, but don't expect that to mean too much. This map has given the best players in this game extreme amounts of trouble just because of how easy it is to miss something on this. The spacing is crazy at this low BPM.
Yeah, this is like a slightly low BPM hidden 1 by Lucent, translated into the Hard Rock pool. Early breaks come out from Smarteyy and WhiteCat. That's not the way you want to start this off if you're Germany. Your own pick to try to stay in the winner's side of the Grand Finals after this. Perhaps falling away. It's going to be South Korea taking the early lead. It's only about 50,000 points, but as we've seen from this match, 50,000 points can be all that it takes. You've got Karcher, Zace, and Alagrisimo on the FCs. You've got worst HR player on a solid combo. There goes Smarteyy and WhiteCat again. Germany just not having the day that they needed. Criller and Shark are going to do everything they can, but there goes Shark.
Oh, no, that might be it.
God.
Oh my god, that might... Oh,
wait,
on.
Okay. Worst HR player and Zace fall.
It's 200,000 almost.
It's 200k, but it's 2 FCs to 1. Karcher and Alagrisimo need to continue to hold. Criller doing everything he can. He's been the light in the darkness for this Germany team in this match. But it's too tough a task for one player. He needs help from his team. He needs help from the opposition.
Man, there is really nothing supporting
there he
Criller, and
goes!
it doesn't matter anymore because it's Karcher and Alagrisimo. And it's halfway through the map, which means Kriller's score is max capped. Alagrisimo breaks, but it's Karcher again for South Korea. Map in and map out. And that might just be the end of this.
I don't know how you're supposed to choose an MVP of this year's OWC when you have Karcher doing things like this in finals after what we saw from Malashevsky in finals yesterday. Finally a break from Karcher, but Kriller trades it, and that, as if there was any hope left for Germany, they just triple broke, and that is really going to seal their fate. There's a 4-way reset for Germany. There's not the time left. There is not the score left. This one is signed, sealed, and delivered. It was a short runway in the first place for Germany coming into this 6-3 down, and they're going to run out of room. They're not going to be able to take off. They're going to crash. It's going to be South Korea saying, we are the top team in this winner's bracket. They're going to win this. It's going to be 7-3, and they're going to go to their first winner's bracket final, from the winner's side in almost 10 years. South Korea, it's been so long coming. But they're the dominant force, and they're going to be the final boss of the tournament in the grand finals from winner's side by a 7-3 score over Germany.
What a fitting way to end it, too. South Korea versus Germany on the Lucian Mordred collab map to finish the match off. South Korea 7-3, bringing it home in the ending. What more can you ask for in a performance from a team when South Korea just looks this good across these matches? The roster is so comprehensive, and Germany, a team who has put up multiple top performances in this tournament, has now been pushed back down to the losers bracket and will have to face off against the winner of the United States versus Poland. South Korea has guaranteed them a placement one higher than last year. They are now guaranteed top 2 across all 5 World Cups this year now.
Nah,